Good evening, sister, teachers, fellow members of the alumni, and students of class 10. I welcome all of you for the third career counseling session organized by alumni this year. So we have with us today, Marieen, who's also an alumna of our school. We're so glad to have you with us this evening, Marieen. Yes, so now I'd like to invite Vidya to deliver the presidential address.
Good evening, friends. It's such a pleasure, as always, to post a great wellness program and a career counseling programs with all of you. We took up the EC. We took up the EC only in Jan, and I guess by March, the 21st, we finished almost 4 programs, and today is the 5th one. And this could not have been possible if we didn't have the continuous guidance and support and encouragement from Sister Prabha. And along with Sister Prabha, the entire teachers and the lovely students, I guess, all of you have made it so doable. And thank you so much. And I only represent the entire SHAA EC. Of the Alumni Association. So I would love to thank all the alumni who are a part of us today. And it's such a pleasant evening, right? And we have lots to learn, listen, understand, and grow from Marieen. And I want all of you to definitely, take down what has been a turning point in her life. Most of us heard the title today called The Vegan Dream, right? But we just understand that vegan is not eating anything from the animal source. But it is also a lot to do with anything related to animals in terms of animal cruelty. So using any animal, products also. So with that, I would love to welcome all of you, Sister Prabha, all the teachers, Miss Mala, Miss Revati, and definitely all the students. I guess you are the end users of whatever we have planned for the career counseling session, and today's session 3. And I wholeheartedly welcome all of you, and I hope you take these nuggets and takeaways and look at your life. We are sharing a lot of variety of careers in front of you. So it is up to you to take a wise decision and make a smart choice. So with that, over to you, Swati.
Thank you, Vidya. Now I'd like to invite another strong member of our alumni EC, Rhoda, to introduce Marieen. Over to you, Rhoda.
Thank you, Vidya. It is my proud privilege to introduce our expert speaker, my good friend and fellow athlete, a woman of substance, a very talented Marieen Vijay. Marieen has been featured prominently in the news as an animal activist and vegan foodpreneur. An alumni of Sacred Heart Church Park, she was school games captain and passed out as individual champion and best outgoing athlete in 1991. At Etherage College, she was individual champion and was on the college tennis, hockey, football, and cricket teams. She has represented Tamil Nadu in baseball and was selected to join the state team for football and billiards. In 1995, at 22, she turned vegan and founded the People for Animals in Chennai. A research scholar in English literature, she completed her MBA from Symbiosis, Pune. In 2001, after having worked successfully with the law enforcement on several animal-related issues, she was invited by the ADGP to be the positive and friendly face of the police force and became the first lady traffic warden in Tamil Nadu. In 2008, Marieen started her own vegan food company, Catalyst Food, constantly developing and veganizing alternatives to exclude meat, eggs, and dairy. Today, vegetable keeps misery off the menu by offering vegans, non-vegans, vegetarians, and non-vegetarians delicious and convenient zero cholesterol and vegan options. Marieen is a promoter of self-defense for women and is a black belt in Shorinji, Kempo, and Karate, and is proficient in Nunchaku and Silambam. She has won several gold medals in the Tamil Nadu State Masters Athletics meet and the Nationals in javelin and high jump, pole vault, and took part representing India at the Asian Masters Athletics Championship at Malaysia, and won silver in pole vault, and was to represent India at the World Masters meet in Toronto, Canada in July 2020, which was not held due to COVID. There's a lot more, but I thought we should carry on. We need to listen to Marieen and her story. So let me stop here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rhoda, for that. Now I'd like to invite Marieen to address the students.
Thank you, Swati, and thank you, Rhoda, for your kindness and thoughtfulness always. Good afternoon, sister, dear teachers, committee members, and young ladies. It's lovely to be called upon to share my journey with all of you. It's a journey that's in two parts, actually. It starts in one field and it continues in another. So I'm going to dive straight in, so we're not strapped for time at the end of it. So I'm going to share my screen with you. Unexpected, it is spontaneous. It starts in one field and it continues from another. And I started off being a complete, I started off being a hardcore non-vegetarian. I loved animals, but I was someone who would refuse to eat without meat. My mother would say that, you know, if there's no chicken, I can't expect her to come to the dining table. She will not eat. So I was so hardcore in spite of the fact I loved animals. And that is something that I carried forward to my experience and what I did in Catalyst Food too. Because in 1995 January, that was the turning point of my life. And that's when I turned vegetarian, because my dog had puppies and the puppy had died in the most gruesome of ways. And I couldn't understand why God would allow a small creature like that to suffer so much. And I turned vegetarian to give that little life, who the mother also did not miss. She had 7 other puppies to look after. So I turned vegetarian in 95 in Jan. And then later on during the year, I happened to read Mrs. Gandhi's Heads and Tails, Mrs. Menaka Gandhi's Heads and Tails. And the first chapter was about milk. And I was so surprised because here I was being a vegetarian. I was feeling very righteous and sanctimonious about that fact. But milk was something that I hadn't even thought about. I thought I was well-read, I was well-informed. And of course, I didn't think of the fact that milk comes from a lactating mother. Milk is meant for the young of a particular species. And every species makes milk for the young of that species, for a specific brain development, for a specific bone development, for specific diseases that affect that particular species. And the fact that our milkmen, they gave them a lot of oxytocin. Now, oxytocin was a hormone that was given to pregnant ladies after the due date was over to induce contractions of the uterus. So this would let them, in 7 minutes, the cow would let down the milk. So this was given to them twice a day. And the calf was taken away from the mother every time she birthed it. And this went on, this process went on and on over the years till at the end, her milk production would fall and she would be thrown onto a beef cart and she's taken off for slaughter. So this was such astounding news to me. And the egg industry, where the layers are stacked, one on top of the other, and their day and night cycles are manipulated with light. All this was like such a burden on my conscience. And I thought every meal of mine should not entail so much of suffering for other living beings. And my mother, she struggled through the whole thing, through my process of turning vegetarian and non-vegetarian. And that's how People for Animals came into being. In 95, we started off in Chennai. So People for Animals is actually the brainchild of Mrs. Menaka Gandhi. She would get letters from all over the country from people, who would say there's a cow tied up here or a dog or cat somewhere else, and you have to do something about it. Now, sitting in Delhi, there was nothing much that she could do. So she got together people from different cities and put them all together and said, now, if you're unhappy with the animal welfare organizations in your city and your town, then it's time that you should do something about it. Don't outsource your compassion and pass the buck to someone else. So learn the laws, learn the issues, learn how to, to represent yourselves in a public forum, deal with the government, deal with law enforcement. So that's exactly what we did. We had to learn. It was big learning for me in PFA because animal welfare was not on the map at that time. It was all very new to us. And we had to fundraise, we had to take care of, the rescue cases, we had to find space. There was a gentleman who gave us, a little space in his office. And soon we convinced him to clear the junk off the terrace, and we started our first adoption unit from there. So we would work with the Hindu. We would give them articles. We had a pet pals column in the Hindu where we give these puppies fancy names. We clean them up. We give them a personality. And Jet Li is 3 weeks old and he's so frisky and he wants a forever home. So, and we'll give off 10 Jet Lis, on a particular day for adoption, because people will call for the name and they'll say, is Jet Li available? Is he still around? Yes, you better come now. So that's how, we had started off. And even though my family, even though they thought that all I did was give up my life to clean dog shit, we were doing so much more. We were dealing with the highest levels of government and the lowest levels. We were dealing with corporates. We were dealing with the law enforcement, the commissioner, to make a change. And I was cleaning dog shit too, because we couldn't afford to feed the puppies. We couldn't afford cleaners and attenders at that time. So dog shit was also part and parcel of what I was doing at that time. So in People for Animals, we were able to affect every facet of animal cruelty that we came across, from illegal transportation of cattle from Andhra via Tamil Nadu to Kerala. The picture that you see here is Lakshmi. She's a chimpanzee who was paralyzed with the circus that had visited Chennai. We had met Dr. Jane Goodall for this particular issue. We had so many issues with the corporation and the municipal authorities that we helped to sort out. We started an Adopt a Indian Dog campaign. There were so many different facets of animal welfare. In education, in sensitization modules for the police. Bullock cart checks was something that was so effective because we learned the laws. We learned PCA, the Prevention of Cruelty Act to Animals. We learned the sections. We taught children, we taught volunteers, we taught members, animal lovers who came to us how to do the bullock cart check themselves and not harass the bullock cart owners too much, the cart owners. But we would take away the whips and we'd explain to them, don't overload the bullock carts. Ask for a second trip and quote the law. Say that, they're catching us and we can only take this much according to the law. So we always would deal with cases with compassion. And of course, there were laboratory animal rescues that we would rescue these monkeys from laboratories that were in cages their entire life. And we would keep them in our shelter in a huge open enclosure, large enclosure. And once they formed a unit, once they formed a family together with the wildlife, we would relocate them into the wild, into the forest where there were fruit trees. And so one of the biggest projects and programs we did was the animal birth control program. So I'm sure all of you have seen the yellow van that goes around picking up the community dogs from all over our city. And before, what used to happen to them till 1995, till 1997 actually, was they were brutally electrocuted. Now, electrocution equipment was given by the RSPCA. It was a humane way, it was actually a more humane way to terminate the animals, because before they were just bonked on their head with a club, with a wooden club, and doused with some bleaching powder and maybe buried alive. So we work with the corporation. We would land up every day there, and they told us, Ma, we have seen so many like you. You can't do anything. This is 72 years old, this entire program, and there's no way you're going to be able to do anything about it. But in 1 year, speaking to the special officer and the commissioner and the law enforcement and everybody that was involved in the state cell, we were able to stop the electrocution, and we were able to implement the World Health Organization recommended program of animal birth control and immunization. This brought down the mortality of humans from rabies, from 700 to nil, and it was a program that was rolled out across the state. So when I left PFA, when I resigned from PFA in about 2007 and 8, we were quite a force to reckon with. We were also a very positive and proactive force, and that is why the ADGP had invited me to be the positive face of, the law enforcement in Chennai. And we were represented at the university level, on boards, on committees. We had state government funding, central government funding. And by the time I left, from when we started, we couldn't afford a single attender. But by the time I'd left, we had about 45 employees. We had 3.5 lakhs of expenditure every month. We had corporates funding us. We had doctors, attenders, cleaners, the whole works. So what I realized after I left PFA was, no matter how much time, energy, resources, funds you have, there is no way you can rescue all the animals and rehabilitate them. We don't have the bandwidth for that, because we are generating, animals are being bred. There's nothing natural about what we are doing to them. We are breeding them by the millions for slaughter. And our planet cannot cope with the waste of the livestock industry, whether it's in terms of greenhouse gases or whether it's in terms of the effluents that run off from these livestock farms and pollute and contaminate the water for kilometers around. There is so much of contagion that we are spreading with our habits, and there's no way that we can sustain without going vegan. So when I turned vegan in 95, everyone was like, why are you so weird? Why can't you be normal? What does it even mean? So now I think everyone, thanks to social media, they know what veganism means. Of course, it's not using any animal products. And it's not good just for the animals, of course, because we're not eating them or using them, abusing them. It's good for our health. It's good for the environment. And it's good. It's a win-win for everyone. So that's how People for Animals came about. I'm sorry, that's how Catalyst Food came about, because it started off as an idea of helping vegans, because there are people who turn vegan with the best of intentions. People want to turn vegan for health reasons, for religious reasons, for ethical reasons, for sustainability reasons, but they find it's a very difficult lifestyle to sustain in terms of making tasty food. Everything becomes boring. They think they don't know what to do. So I thought I should maybe help people, and I started a small catering business where I would make snacks and desserts, and it was all very small. It was done at home, and it went on pretty well for a bit until I realized it was too much trouble to sustain it, because I realized I didn't have the bandwidth to deal with customers. They would bargain, they would cancel orders, they would not pay up. So this was a headache, and I couldn't see myself doing this long term. So I decided I would like to give vegan convenience a try, and I was brainstorming with myself. So it was always me, myself, and I. I was brainstorming with myself, and I said, okay, so I'm going to do easy vegan convenience where I can put my products on the shelf and people can buy it and put together easy vegan meals. So it's basically vegan food demystified. So it's not like, rocket science. So that's what I did. So there were many hats I wore. I used to tell people I'm the CEO and the peon, and I do everything in between. So this is where I think this was a convergence basically of everything that I did and all the experiences, my education. I had trained in design, so I was able to do my PR material, my website, the designing, my pamphlets, my stall designs. I learned food photography and food styling. that's so much of learning. So being an entrepreneur has been pretty amazing because there's never a boring moment. There's so many problems. There's so many things you need to do. And it's great fun working with the government, doing your compliance, the food safety, the GST, and the feedback that you get from people, from the government especially, because when I went for the trademark, when I went for my GST, for my FSSI, for my certifications, I was very worried, how do I do it by myself? I mean, trying to reinvent this wheel without a consultant and doing it. But I realized that the government, they are very, very encouraging of people like us, I mean, women entrepreneurs, and it was a breeze. I mean, other women entrepreneurs, when they come and ask me, how did you get this done? Was it easy? Was it difficult? I'll tell them, just go for it. It is really easy. The government is really, really responsive and very, very appreciative and encouraging. So like I said, this was a convergence. What I do now is a convergence of everything I did before. My people for animals, the interest, my love for animals, my passion for food, the MPhil that I did, in English literature, my MA and MPhil, my design that I did. And I found that the confidence and the composure that was groomed into me at Church Park, that's something that I took for granted when I was at Church Park. It's, but it's not until you leave and you're out in the open world and you're dealing with people that you realize that it sets you apart, gives you the confidence to, to tackle the issues, to walk into offices, to take a stand, to achieve things. So this really helped me. Catalyst Food was the converging point of everything that I'd done, my education and my experience. So when I started Catalyst Food, I was wondering, what are the products I should have? Now, I should have something that I can't be cooking and baking on a daily basis. In which case, as an entrepreneur, I would face a lot of returns on a daily basis too. So I wanted products that would be a little shelf stable. I'm very strict about the fact that I don't add additives or preservatives and any junk to my food. So they're very clean label. So the two products that I started off with was vegan mayonnaise, which is a very versatile product. You can use it in salads, as a dip, in your wrap, in your burgers, with your snacks. It just transforms every meal. And the other one was a mock meat, because non-vegetarians were my biggest challenge, because I know, being a non-vegetarian, for 22 years, how difficult it was to give up meat. There are a lot of times when you slip up, and then when people go back, it's very difficult to get them back to this lifestyle again. So the only way we can make a lasting change to this lifestyle is if we give people delicious alternatives that's healthy and sustainable. So the mock meat that I make is wheat-based. It's 80% protein. It's easy to prep. It's pre-cooked, pre-flavored, and it's frozen. So there's no additives and preservatives in this too. So this is really versatile. So this mock meat and the veggies and the veggie meat and the veggie protein, they're very versatile. So it's very easy to put together a meal, a snack, and still have a very interesting and satisfying meal. So along the way, I have had to basically refine the business model, because starting off itself, the initial idea was I would want to have a cafe or a restaurant, because food is so interesting, and the way I cook it, I think, is really interesting. I love food, and I want to share my passion for food. I'd like to share my food with people. So my dream was actually a cafe or a restaurant, but I didn't want help. I didn't want people to, I didn't want my father or anybody else to invest in it, in which case they had a say in it. I wanted to do it by myself. I wanted no compromise on the ideology of being vegan, of being run the way I had to run it. So I didn't have the bandwidth in terms of capital, manpower, space to take something on rent. So I compromised on that, and I said, okay, maybe I do a food business, and I started the foodie, the home catering. And I realized the limitations of that. So the thorn of that was the customers, where I couldn't, I realized that I didn't want to deal with them. And I started the vegan convenience products, which had to be refrigerated and frozen. My mayonnaise can be refrigerated for 3 months. And my mock meat can basically be frozen forever. But sending it out of Chennai is a challenge, because the cold refrigeration, cold logistics are pretty expensive. So the cost would increase when you send it out of Chennai. So the thorn here was the fact that cold logistics had to be maintained. So right now what I'm doing is, it is getting involved. I am creating dry premixes. We're patenting it, we're trialing it. Hopefully in the next few months, I'll be able to bring it to the market. There are a few dry premixes that I'm bringing out, which I can send pan-India without refrigeration, without the cold logistics problem that I've been facing till now, and which people would find very easy to mix and make. So it's like a mix and make range of products that would help people put together a super vegan meal. So like I said, people have been very encouraging, not only for the government, but for society. This is another alumni, Manju, from school. They gave the Duchess Club, they had given me the Vegan Queen Award. This is the other award, that was also a Vegan Queen Award. That was from Akab, which is a fashion studio and design school. And this Vegan Queen term was very embarrassing initially. I thought it's very funny, and but now it's kind of stuck and it's kind of grown on me. I kind of like it too. So the press also has been, this is a lovely story to tell, and they think the backstory is also pretty amazing. So the press have been quite encouraging. There's been a lot of press activity telling the story and the backstory. And I was featured on the front page of the Times of India, which was like, it's not even a dream come true, because I didn't even dream it up. It just happened. I was just over the moon. And so every now and then, we have people from the press who would like to know more about it, who would like to spread the word. And I'm so grateful for the whole lot of it. So what I'd like to tell the students is, it's pretty amazing the world we live in now, the way we're connected. People are very picky, the consumers are very picky, they're well informed, they're critical, and they make their decisions. So we can't pull one over their eyes. So factor it into all your business decisions. That is going to be a win-win for you, for society, for the planet, and for everyone else. So, yep, we've reached the end of it. And what I'd like to tell you is, my journey was so unplanned, but now there are so many courses that help you through the whole thing. There are so many courses on animal welfare from the state government, from the central government. There are so many institutes also that are offering these courses. There's courses in food technology. The possibilities are endless, and so just do it. Consistency and focus is all that matters. And being women, we may tend to take financial independence a little lightly. I would advise you not to do that, because love can be free, but don't outsource your finances to anyone else. So just do it. Consistency and focus, small steps every day, daily goals, keep a diary, and magic will happen. Thank you so much. I think I'm on time.
Yes, you are. Thank you so much, Marieen. It was really nice to hear, very inspiring to hear the entrepreneurial story of yours. Not many of us have had the chance to hear or even interact with an animal activist. And I'm sure this must have been an eye-opener for the kids. Thank you so much for that. I'd like to invite Dr. Vijay to spearhead the discussion now.
Thank you so much, Swati. Yes. So thank you so much, Marieen. I mean, there was so many things, so many pointers which you had expressed through your journey. A few questions from my side. We have one question from a parent too. So like you said, yours was an unplanned journey. But supposedly, if one of the students would like to take up food technology, what do you think is the scope for that child? Because see, when we passed out of school, it was more of doctors and engineers. I myself am a doctor. So I know how we were all groomed. We were science students, it's doctors or engineers. Then you are art students, it is this. But now I feel, there's a big palette in front of you, and you can take and you can shine and you can outgrow and you can really make it up. Like you said, the vegan queen. So we want to hear it from you. for the students, in case they want to take up anything like, say, BSc dietetics or nutrition, and probably, like you said, food technology. There is so much to it right now. So can you just throw some light on that?
Yeah, doctor, because now more than ever, this is the time. I think this is where we're coming into everything health related and diet related, sustainable and healthy. So this is the time. Food technology is going big, because a lot of the food that we are going to be getting in the future is going to be planned and tailor-made. Companies are taking cognizance of the fact that we have to, like I said, the consumers are getting very picky, they're getting very critical, they're very well informed, and they read food labels. And you have to, and a lot of companies are coming up with clean label food ingredients, and there's a chemistry to the whole thing. So food technology is where it's going to be at, in a while. That's, I think, and like I said, the vegan food industry is booming now from where it was, and food technology along with that, because there are alternatives that are being prepared all the time, alternatives to cheese, because the way we are farming now, the livestock, the cheese, meat, and all the rest of it, it's very unsustainable. So it's a lot of plant-based stuff that we are seeing on our shelves, soy milk, almond milk, soy cheese, so this is where I think the parents should be happy if their kids are going to take the initiative and, and be
I truly understand, because see, when you use the terminology oxytocin, I mean, it was given for a different purpose, but then,
Exactly.
they abused that same hormone, and the side effects of it was something which I don't think anybody can palate. It was too much for the not only the cow, but I guess the other animals.
For us also, because this percolates from the milk into our bodies. And the Indian Council of Medical Research said that milk should not be consumed, because it has such high levels of hormones. It's harmful, and girls were coming into puberty much earlier.
Exactly.
And a lot of hormone-related health issues.
True. I wanted to draw the same point, whether it was the girl or the male child. I guess, all of them started having the puberty issues. Correct. And other hormonal issues also, because of these kind of injected, products getting into the daily, diet. And like you said, Marieen, today's, life itself is a very fast-paced life. And we don't know what comes into the plate. And it's sometimes, we're just running around to get the meals proper. So like you said, the out-of-shelf food mixes, as you call them. So can you just throw some light and tell us like how this is going to work on the food, the pyramid, as we call it, right? The right amount of proteins, like you mentioned.
Yeah, so that's when the food technologists and the dietitians would come in, because they would design the products, because the products even now are being designed to deliver. I mean, there's a lot of vegan protein brands in India also, and they're very well priced, as in they're very expensive. And there's a lot of, I mean, it's a booming industry, the vegan protein industry, and they have tailor-made their proteins. And now the drinks industry, also the beverage industry, it is like instant smoothie mixes, and that's something that we worked on in Catalyst Food for a bit. The breakfast smoothie, where you really don't, like you said, we're strapped for time, we're strapped to, for attention. We don't want to have to think about it. If somebody's already done it for us, and an expert has worked in it, and we're sure of the quality, then that's all we need as parents. So a smoothie drink is something that we were working up, where we would just throw something into a few scoopfuls of something into the blender with the fruit, maybe oat-based milk and almonds and everything, and you have a lovely, nutritious breakfast. So the same thing would work, for snacks, for starters, for everything, where you really don't have to get something that's loaded with hormones, because animal products are loaded with hormones, because animal producers at the end of the day are maximizing their profit, and they're maximizing their profit with feeding the animals growth hormones so that they become bigger to maximize, the output. And everything is percolating into our bodies, and it sparks off cancers and all sorts of issues, So plant-based and design nutrition is, I think, where it's going to be at. So.
Awesome. I had another question, because see, whenever you think of bakery or bakery products, from the food, what should I say, the photography which you showed in all your slides, I was just thinking, how do you really make it without egg, without milk? How do you make the cakes and the bakery products? I'm sure you have children too at home, and how do they welcome these kind of changes? So what was that initial glitch? And
yeah, they kind of love it because I like to come up with new things, and they say, "Ma, it's so easy to be vegan at home." But when we go out, they're not vegan, by the way, because when they go out, it's like, they have whatever they want, because they say vegan is so, there's really strapped for choice outside. But here at home, they kind of love it. And there's so many alternatives that, it's only a habit. We've been used to cooking in a certain way. And like we're so used to puri and idli and all those things for breakfast. But when you look at it, it's so much work. Now, what we used to have for years, it was just a smoothie in the morning where it's just a handful of almonds that have been soaked overnight with dates and a little bit of oats. And it's so nutritious because I don't have to run behind the kids feeding them, in the morning before they go to school. And we can just carry the smoothie, they go for karate class, and on the way to school, they'll chug it down. And it has all the good things. It has almonds, it has dates, it has oats, and it has fruit. So that's going to keep them going for a bit. And there's no cleanup, I just have to clean the blender out. I don't have to clean all the idli patram and the sambar, nothing has, it's so easy. It's actually, we just have to demystify it for people. And it is a much simpler and a much healthier, and you feel lighter, you feel healthier. It's an amazing lifestyle.
Awesome, Marieen. One last question from my side before I turn into the chat box to read out what is there. When you were in school, when you were in Church Park, when you wore the pinafore, and when you came to school, how did you feel about coming out of school and venturing into the new world? I'm sure the 10th standard students today are going to face the exam, and they are looking out for the next. What next is the biggest question they have. And thereafter that you have turned into a foodpreneur or a veganpreneur, however you want to call that. So pretty much that entire journey, how do you envision what really the school backed you up? Maybe the daredevil kind of live your dreams attitude, or set your mind at it and work on it, be determined, be disciplined. What was it that the school gave you? Because all through, as you spoke through your journey, I felt there was a small kind of a rebel who wanted to make a point and prove that this works. So can you just tell a little bit of that, please?
Yeah, I think school has helped me. I mean, like I said, the level of confidence and composure that you just take it for granted when you're in school. The network that you have, the people the confidence. It is something that you don't realize till you leave school and you go to college, and you're interacting with your teachers there in college and with your peers, and you're taking part in the culturals, and then that's when you realize what an edge it is to come out of Church Park. It's such an advantage. It's like an unfair advantage, actually. And even now there are friends of mine who have helped me across the board. I mean, in my business, in the PR, it's pretty amazing the kind of network, the kind of friendships we form. The teachers, there are a few teachers that I kept in touch with, and Navneet, Raghavan, we had worked on an event together. And I always remember Mrs. Shahuna, because Mrs. Shahuna is the one who told me, you, the kind of caliber, as a person you have, you are going to do, and you will. And I was such a rebel at that time. And she said, no, stop it. You're going to do amazing things. So it was, and Mrs. Raymond and Mrs. Sheila Phillips. And, she was really strict, but I just adored her. And I really look back with great fondness, and and all of them. It's been pretty amazing to have those shared experiences.
Awesome, Marieen. I mean, I really love the way, because I feel somewhere Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam sir, he said, like, dare to dream and make your dreams come true. And I think that dare devil attitude, I guess all of us got it from our school. I mean, they allowed us to speak our mind and, tread the path. Maybe it was an unwalked path, but then we created a pathway so that the rest of the generation or the people who want to do can walk on that same path forward.
That's true. The level of, the quality of communication that was encouraged in school, the way we went about doing our projects, the dramatics, the art exhibition, it was, I mean, the quality, I've never seen that, at my college level. And it's something that I always remember. It's like I said, we just take it for granted when we are there, just the way it was. But and later we realize how amazing it was.
Awesome. I'm going to just read out a few questions from the chat box here. There's a parent who's asking if the designed food products are going to come from the GMO products, I mean genetically modified, that's what I guess it means. Won't they also defeat the purpose of avoiding hormone-induced products we use now?
Yeah, so that's something that we need to watch out for. Because in India, actually, they're just starting, I think we need activists in, like Dr. Vandana Shiva, to fight the entry of GMOs and to make sure that companies like Monsanto and the DuPont and the rest of them don't really have too much of a foot in the door, and we slam it and bolt it. She's been quite vociferous, but like I said in People for Animals, the ideology is there, but people cannot pass on their concern and compassion to someone else. So I would reiterate the same point here. We are concerned about GMOs. We are concerned with what we are putting into our bodies, into our products, on our plate. So we shouldn't stay blind to that fight. We should get involved. We should lend a voice because numbers make all the difference, and they need all the support. The champions at the forefront, they may be vociferous. They may look like, they can do it all, but they can't because the companies are powerful. And, and it's a huge risk they are taking on our behalf. And the least we can do is help ourselves, help our children with getting involved in that fight too.
Since you said pre-mixed food, I have another question. How about the preservatives added? Because you said for the shelf life, do you add some preservatives? Mostly what I have understood through FSSAI is that, there are some permissible levels of preservatives and food colors also for that matter, which is added to the food, but all within the limits. So can you just throw some light on that?
Yeah, so the example that I give you for this is my mayonnaise was doing very well, and we were getting a lot of inquiries to take it pan-India. So I had taken it to a food factory, and we had about 6 food technologists working on the mayonnaise to make it shelf stable so that it doesn't have to be kept in the refrigerator. So since it was only 3 months in the refrigerator, the other normal mayonnaise that is available in the market would stay for 2 years out on the shelf.
Okay.
So these food technologists, when they were working on it, they were putting a lot of chemicals and stuff into it. And I was getting progressively more upset. And I was like, no, but I don't want, and they're like, no, it's all good. This is, even a slice of bread has more, than you're adding in this, and a slice of that. So I was like pretty astounded, and I stopped buying bread. I used to bake bread at home because of that. And everything that comes to us is contaminated and adulterated in some way or another like this. And it was such an eye-opener for me that this is how I would have to compromise if I wanted to go pan-India with my mayonnaise. And I decided, no, I can't eat this. I can't give it to my kids. So there's no way I want to sell a product like this. And I stopped the factory production, and we still make it in small batches. So it's like, you can just create your own niche, and people who are interested can buy, and those who are not can buy what's on the shelf for 2 years. But the amount of stuff that we're putting in it was just defeating the purpose of putting it in our bodies. So yes, there is a lot of stuff that's being put into, so we, like I said, people are beginning to read labels because of that. And awesome. They're right to do so.
A wonderful interaction, Marieen. I'm so excited for 2 reasons, because the 10th standard students are going to take up the exams. And I guess you threw a lot of information in relation to, what is good for their health. And even as a career option, if in case they want to take up this as a food technologist, or, to go even beyond that into the research of food development. So I think in food safety, this talk would give them at least a bit, a nugget to take it forward. So thank you so much for your precious time, and over to you, Swati. Thank you.
Thank you, Vidya. Now I'd like to call upon Revati ma'am from class 10 to share her thoughts.
Hello, everyone. I am Mrs. Revati, and on behalf of the principal, students, and class teachers of Standard 10, I would like to thank the Alumni Association and the speaker of the day, Mrs. Marieen, for spending this evening with us and enlightening us about this very interesting topic, a vegan dream today. I hope the students will make use of all that they have learned today. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, Ms. Revati. I'd like to conclude this evening's session by extending my gratitude to all those who are here this evening. First of all, I'd like to thank Sister for giving SHAA the opportunity to hold this session. Thank you, Marieen, for taking time out of your busy schedule, for being here this evening and addressing the students. I'm sure though adults like us are aware of the vegan and food technology, this must have thrown some light, or the students must have have become aware of these options in front of them now. And thank you, teachers, for being with us, and the students for being active participants this evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you.